Hello, how are we doing today? My name is SpectrumDominus, and today I'm doing my Money in the Bank 2017 prediction video. Now, as you can tell, we are doing this. If you've ever seen the show, you know we do these live on my Twitch stream. You can join us every Friday night, usually is when I film them. Right now I'm doing them live as part of a 24-hour stream that I'm doing on Saturday, so it is a little later than normal. But check the comments below, twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. You can join us for all sorts of wrestling. We do a lot of Supercard, WWE 2K17, box openings. If you see this video now, I'm probably live still because I will be posting the video, but going until about 10 a.m. Eastern Sunday morning with a 24-hour stream. During that stream, you can check to see in the background, we got some loot box openings, card box openings, a whole bunch of wrestling stuff that we're going to be incorporating into the stream, as well as other games. So come check us out. But right now, we're going to do our 2017 Money in the Bank predictions. As we always do, we're using the Wikipedia page for the Money in the Bank playlist, match list. The reason I use the the Wikipedia page is because I found them never to be wrong on a match. However, often to have a match that we unaware about. So, thus is the case with this. All the prediction shows I've watched on YouTube have predicted the 5 matches that were announced on the show. The one match they didn't predict is the pre-show match that is listed on Wikipedia. I've found this to be the case several times where Wikipedia finds out the pre-show match one way or another and lists it before the pay-per-view so that I can predict the pre-show match as well as anything else. So the first match and the pre-show match that they have listed is the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder versus the Colognes. This will be great to see Zack Ryder back in the ring. I'm glad to see he's back. I believe that this is going to be a slow build towards a Zack Ryder heel turn, where he's going to turn on Rawley. That won't happen here at the pay-per-view. They're going to have a couple matches first. I expect that they will probably win this match. It would be kind of... I don't really want them to kick it into lose, and then heel turn. I'd rather them do a full, win this and then get on a losing streak. I don't want Zack's first match back to be a loss, but it could happen. It could be the Colognes here. I'm going to put my little check mark on the Hype Bros. If there's no storyline going in with the heel turn going forward, if that's not part of the plans, or if that's not part of the plans yet, then the Hype Bros are the obvious win here. If they're trying to shock us or surprise us, they may give the Colognes a win, but usually they don't do that kind of stuff on the pre-show. So we'll see what happens. I say the Hype Bros win that match pretty easily. The next match they have listed is Naomi versus Lana. Now, this has been tossed around. I've seen this called a lock on other channels, or the closest thing to a lock, that Naomi's going to win it. I can see Naomi winning it, but I just feel like it's... When you look at Jinder winning the world belt, when you look at this is Lana's first match, when you look at you don't want Lana to look that stupid coming in off of her first match. I almost feel like the way WWE is, the way WWE, especially Vince McMahon, and how he likes his women. He likes his Trish Stratuses. He likes his Kelly Kelly. I heard it said on another channel. I believe it was Ollie Davis's channel. Not Wrestling with Regret, but... Wrestle Talk TV, I believe he said on his prediction that if it was up to Vince McMahon, we wouldn't have the current batch of divas. He'd be back to Kelly Kelly, and Lana would be a world champion, and it'd be all the blonde bombshells that And this is just something he's dealing with to be politically correct. I kind of agree with that. I do. I kind of agree that that's how Vince thinks about it. He has no real need for women's wrestling. The women's wrestling revolution is Stephanie McMahon / Triple H thing. And because of that, I can completely see him putting the belt on Lana here. This is his type of women's wrestler. It also makes for a quick push of Lana. If Lana is supposed to be the person who can't wrestle and loses a bunch of matches, then a loss here doesn't hurt her character because that's her character. But if they want to make her into a competitor, if she's worked hard, which rumor has it she has, and they want to turn her into another woman in the division that can win, then you don't want to start her out with a loss. It is so obvious that Naomi's going to win, that this could be the surprise, the shock and surprise that we can expect from this pay-per-view, because there has been one the last 4 or 5 pay-per-views. There's been at least one really shocking thing. So I'm going to gamble here and say that Lana wins the belt. It probably won't be clean. She probably will cheat somehow, but I'm going to say that Lana takes the championship here. The next match I have, I'm going to skip over the women's Money in the Bank ladder match because I think that is closely tied into the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and I'm going to go into the tag team championship match, which is the Usos versus the New Day. It says Big E, Kofi, and or Xavier versus Jay and Jimmy. I believe that this title will eventually go to the New Day. I think a lot of people are already calling for the New Day to win the belt, and I think that they're going to go that route. I think that the New Day are going to become champions and probably hold it for a while until they feud with American Alpha, which I believe is going to be turned heel soon. I believe American Alpha is going to be turned heel. I believe that New Day is going to win the belt, and I think that New Day versus Alpha as heels are going to be the big tag team promotion in SmackDown over the next 8 months up to WrestleMania. But for now, if you give it to them too early, then they either hold it for another 300 days like they did the Raw belts, which wouldn't be too terrible, but it also kind of stunts the growth of the Usos. The Usos aren't selling merchandise. They're not doing the money aspect, but they're doing phenomenal jobs getting the crowd reaction. They're doing great jobs on their mic work. It is better than it's ever been. So I really think this is more of a Usos retain somehow, New Day wins it at SummerSlam situation. So I'm going to give, even though the win may go, just like with the Jinder Mahal match, the win may go in one direction, but the belts are going to stay on the Usos. Speaking of the Jinder Mahal match, I think this is the closest thing to a lock on the card. Jinder will be leaving with the belt. Randy's a boring champion. Randy sells the same amount of merchandise whether he's champion or not champion. Jinder is selling merchandise now better than he ever has, or at least selling buy rates better than we have done. If you look at video watches, which is one of the new gauges of how someone's doing, Jinder's video watches, YouTube videos are being watched significantly more than previous champions. So they see it as a successful run so far, and I don't think they're ending it here. Now, it is very, very likely he will drop it at SummerSlam. I believe that, again, it was Ali Davis's podcast that made a statement that I very much agreed with. He said that it's very likely, maybe that was What Culture? Maybe that was Plumpy and Adam Blampier. But they were, yeah, I think it was. They were saying, yeah, it was Plumpy that said it. He's going to hold on to the belt, but because with him as the champion, if they're trying to sell an event to India, the event they want to sell is SummerSlam, not Money in the Bank. They want to sell SummerSlam, the biggest thing since WrestleMania, which is how WWE always goes about the SummerSlam is that it's the second biggest pay-per-view. Last year they had Brock Lesnar defending his title there in a big match. I think it was versus Reigns. I don't know, but it was a huge match. And they'll do the same thing this year. They'll build up SummerSlam to be a big event, and because it's going to be a big event, that's the one they're going to want to sell to India. So Jinder will come in to that in hopes to selling the SummerSlam event to India to get more buys out of India. So Jinder's going to win here, or at least Jinder is going to retain. One of either the Usos or Jinder are going to probably lose the match but win by disqualification. I don't care. I don't know which one. But the point is they'll both retain the belts. Which brings us to the 2 Money in the Bank matches. Now, we've talked about this on the stream. If you come to the stream, you know my thoughts about Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, King of the Ring back in the day, they are there for a specific purpose. Now, Royal Rumble a little less because you still have to make sure that the person who gets it is a main eventer for WrestleMania. But even then, don't necessarily need to. When there's two shows, you can have 2 matches. You can do Brock versus Goldberg and let the winner of the Royal Rumble. Now, this year it was Randy Orton, but in the past it's been people like Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. So it doesn't have to be a major superstar. It doesn't have to be someone that is already a main eventer. And those type of events, these events, the Money in the Bank, the King of the Ring, were there and mainly there at least during the brand split era to elevate someone from a mid-card to a main event. That is my belief. That is how it's gone. If you look, there are winners like John Cena who have won the Money in the Bank, or, I don't even have many more. John Cena is the one I can think of who won the Money in the Bank and was a main eventer. Aside from that, Randy Orton. There you go. Randy Orton and John Cena who won the Money in the Bank, and that's it. Aside from that, everyone else has been a mid-card, just on the verge of main event, and then used it to push themselves over. So because of that, I believe that you can completely take Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles out of the running. And with the women's match, you can take Charlotte Flair out of the running. She doesn't need it. It's not a good look for her. Now, the other thing is, they tend to put it on a heel. If you look over the history, and I haven't done the math, and I should have. That was part of my plan for today, and I apologize for not doing the math. But let's say there were 20 Money in the Bank winners. 16 of them would have been heels. Again, I'm giving you a guesstimate, but the heel cash in, the heel running in and trying to cash in, and then not doing it at the last second when the face starts to wake up and he takes the bell never rang. It's a very common trope in the Money in the Bank. It's something that they like to do. So because of that, I expect the heel to win. Now, we do have 2, and that does allow for them to put one on a face. It does allow for them to do a instant cash in. It does allow for them to do certain things. So, what I'm giving you today for the Money in the Bank is I'm giving you 2 possible finishes on each match that are linked together. All right? Either I believe they're going to do a face and a heel. They're going to let one of them hold for a long time, the other hold for a somewhat short time. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you because the most likely is that it's going to be both heels. So let's start with the female. This is the most likely female to win, in my opinion. Carmella is going to win the women's Money in the Bank match. Now, the other one that could theoretically win is Becky. There's your face heel, okay? Charlotte doesn't need it. Theoretically, Natalya doesn't need it. Tamina could use it, but I just don't think it works very well for Tamina. Whereas Becky Lynch winning it as the face and then having a slow heel turn while having the Money in the Bank, she could even theoretically down the road cash it in on a face, Charlotte gets the belt. She's the face, or Naomi gets the belt back, and Becky cashes it in and then says, why am I a bad guy? Why? Just because I cashed it in? But then slowly start to do bad guy things. If you look right now, you've got Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky on one side, and Carmella, Natalya, and Tamina on the other side. They are going to have to flip someone to the heel side, because Lana is not really pushing it up. They're going to have to flip one of those three heel, and Naomi's been heel fairly recently, and Charlotte just turned face. Becky is going heel in the near future, and using the briefcase as a catalyst for that is a brilliant and kind of a story that's not told as often. Like, it's the same story that was told with CM Punk. CM Punk did the similar thing. He was a face, he cashed it in, and then he was like, well, but why does that make me a bad guy just because I used it to my advantage? That same story was told before when he cashed it in on Jeff Hardy, but it was used to turn him heel. That same thing could be done with Becky Lynch here. And I do believe Becky is turning heel soon. Sometime over the next 3 to 6 months, we will see Becky, probably even sooner than that. So Becky would be a good in that sense. Put it on a face, but turn them heel. Carmella is a great plan because Carmella is the heel most ready to get pushed into that main event. There was a point where I thought she was going to win it last year off of Becky. I just thought that they needed to give it to a heel. I didn't think Alexa Bliss was ready yet. I was wrong. I thought Carmella was going to be the Alexa Bliss of last year. That's what I thought was going to happen. So there is something to be said. And when you have Ellsworth on her arm, it's kind of like Jinder and the Singh brothers. You can have her win matches with Ellsworth's help, that kind of a thing. And it makes her look weak, but she's a heel. She's supposed to look weak. And the visual of Carmella coming to the ring and having James Ellsworth hold her purse, her briefcase, is just undeniable to me. That, to me, Carmella is definitely the better option, but I could totally see it going to Becky. It has to be one of those two. Now, I'm going to give it to... Whichever one I give it to will be based on which male I pick. So, let's go over the males event and tell you about my two options there. And you could probably, based on how I talked about the women, guess what my two options there are. I already said it's not going to be AJ. As cool as it would be to see AJ with his arms out holding the briefcase, as cool as it would be, say, AJ's already gotten a world title run, he's got a Money in the Bank, we can give him the Royal Rumble next year, try to get him all the accolades in. I mean, they love AJ Styles, and maybe they try to get him everything in the next 3 or 4 years because he doesn't have that long. He's already a 40-year-old wrestler, but assuming they don't want to go that route, which I don't think they do, AJ's not a realistic. He's realistic. It could happen, could completely shock us, but it kind of defeats the purpose of the Money in the Bank, in my opinion. AJ tomorrow can say, okay, now that we're done with all this nonsense, Jinder, I want my belt back, and they could put that match together, and they don't need a reason to do so. So, it's fine not giving it to AJ. Dolph is the other end of the spectrum. He's already won the Money in the Bank. He's already cashed it in. He's already faltered as a world champion. He's done. He's there because he can flip and flop in a Money in the Bank match. He has no chance of actually winning. The other two that aren't going to win but theoretically could are Kevin Owens and Shinsuke. First of all, Shinsuke has now pinned Kevin Owens 2 or 3 times. Pretty much setting up a Owens-Nakamura U.S. Championship bout coming out of this. I expect SummerSlam to be Nakamura versus Owens for the U.S. belt. Whether or not he wins it, that's a prediction show for next month. But because of that, I don't see them putting the Money in the Bank on either of them. He doesn't need it. Kevin Owens can fight for the world belt after dropping the U.S. belt. Shinsuke is a big enough name, but if they're going to put him in a U.S. title picture, if they're going to give him the U.S. title, again, why have the Money in the Bank on him at the same time he's running that belt? It really comes down to Corbin and Sami Zayn to me. They're both that guy that's on the cusp of breaking through. They're both the guys that could cash it in. Baron Corbin could cash it in on Randy if Randy were to beat Jinder, let's say at SummerSlam, and then Randy beats Jinder and becomes the champion again, and then Baron Corbin cashes it in at SummerSlam. It's so much better on a heel in that situation for the world belt. No one wants to see another Randy Orton title run, but doing a quick swap like that, or having Randy Orton, having John Cena, which is one of the rumors, John Cena versus Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam, where Cena takes the belt off to Jinder. I don't like that because I don't want his 17th title reign to happen that way, but John Cena wins it and then loses it that night to Baron Corbin, setting up Baron Corbin as the champion versus John Cena. That is so much better than what could come of Sammy. Now, Sammy could get it, could use it, could hold it, and then he could theoretically do what we haven't seen very often. If they want to go with Carmella as the Money in the Bank winner, she carries it around for whatever and does the sneaky cash in. Sammy could do the I'm going to announce it. I'm going to use this to challenge Jinder Mahal at SummerSlam. One of those type of situations, which we've only seen with RVD and John Cena. We don't get a lot of the face cashing in at the right time, announcing his cash in. We haven't seen it in a while. We haven't seen it since Cena did it on Raw 1000 when CM Punk was a champion and Big Show interfered. And that was 4 years ago, something like that. So it's been a while since we've seen that. So giving the briefcase to Sammy so he can do a proper cash in, and then having the heel Carmella have it, that is a very likely outcome as well. The one outcome that I don't see happening but could happen is Sammy Becky. Sammy and Becky both win. It's the previous pay-per-view, the Extreme Rules, was an all-heel pay-per-view. It was like Rich Swann and Sasha Banks were the only face winners on that whole pay-per-view. They could go much more heel on this, and now Jinder's keeping his title, Usos keeping their title, but they could have two face winners, Becky and Sammy, but Becky turns heel to eventually cash it in as a heel. Sammy cashes in the way. So it really is a work of those four. Any one of those four work. It's just a matter of finding which one you want to go with. I am going to go Baron Corbin, Carmella, because to me, those are the ones I want. I think I'm going to be wrong on one of the two. I think it's going to be more Baron Corbin, Becky, Sami Zayn, Becky, Sami Zayn, Carmella. I think I'm going to be wrong on one of the two. But I'm going to go Baron Corbin for the men and Carmella for the women. I think because I go heel, I get at least one of the two right. I think if it's going to be a heel face, it's more likely Baron Corbin, Becky than it is Sami Zayn, Carmella. But for my little check marks, I'm putting it in the Baron Corbin and Carmella. But we'll see how it goes from there. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Make sure you check out my Twitch channel where I stream these live. I'm looking at my chat right now and everyone's yelling at me with their own. I'm going to read those all off. We're going to spend the next 5 minutes talking about everyone else in the channel. They're all here watching live and telling me how bad of a predictor I am. You should come and do that too when you get a chance at twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. And I'll be back, guys, for Great Balls of Fire predictions in a couple weeks. You guys have fun. Take care. Bye-bye.